Cool. Okay, here I am. Okay, so I don't know how much time I'll have. My battery's getting kind of low and my cord's out. Yeah, I don't have a cord to plug it in here. But anyway, to begin with kindergarten, keep it simple. Now, I found a website by a gal that talks about home education, and she basically says stick with the 3 R's: reading, writing, and arithmetic. That's the basic fundamental things that your child will absolutely need to know in life. Don't worry about jumping into every single subject under the sun. Kids are explorers, and as they're exploring, they will be doing science. They will be doing all of those things. And you can talk about history and different things as the subjects come up. So, so that's kind of the basic foundation. And then I would recommend using the Alpha and Omega. And I did order these. Okay, so I ordered the Alpha and Omega Kindergarten only does language and math. And in language, you have the writing. So you have the reading and writing. And then the math, of course, is the arithmetic. So this is the language packet. There are 2 booklets, booklet 1 and booklet 2, and a teacher's guide for the year. So, book 1, and there are 80 lessons. Let's see how many lessons. It's a total, I think it's 80 lessons. It's a total of 160 lessons, which is basically what public education requires, is 160 days or the equivalent of that for a child. And so these are broken up into let me look at the teacher's guide. 160 lessons, 40 lessons for each quarter, so 4 times. And after each 40 lessons, there's like an evaluation to kind of see if the child knows basically what they've been learning. And then you go into the next. And the teacher's guide has, tells you how to do it. It has a daily schedule, a suggested daily schedule. I wouldn't go by this because it has children sitting for like hours. Well, an hour at a time, but I think that's might be pushing it, maybe not, depending on an hour, that's including instruction time, hands-on time, and the seat work. I would go with 45 minutes, 30 minutes to 45 minutes, and then give them a break and then come back and finish up. That's just the way I would do it. So anyway, so these are designed so easy that basically a lesson per day, and the lesson might be 1 or 2 pages in the math. Some of them are 4 pages, but they're really simple. So lesson 1 starts out really easy, and it starts with kind of some review of all the stuff that we've been learning in preschool, reviewing of all the letters, and then some easy ways of writing, copying. And by this time, most of those that are going into kindergarten are pretty good at being able to copy or make, pretty much anything that they see as far as letters go. So this, it starts out with, the ABCs, and then pretty soon it moves into putting, the sounds of the letters and putting the sounds together. By the end of book 1, which would be September, October, the end of October, they have been writing all the letters of the alphabet and moving into reading short words and recognizing the beginning sounds in words. So, tub, bug, things like that. And these are preparing the kids so that when they finish book 1 and book 2 in this program, that they will be ready for first grade in the Alpha and Omega program. And at that point, I'm not sure, I haven't really looked at it, but they may be at a point where they're able to read the simple instructions and do the work themselves without a whole lot of teacher involvement. That's the goal, is to get them to the point where they read the concept, the lesson that's being taught, the concept that's being taught, and then the books give them the practice. And as they get into the older grades, there won't just be 2 books. There would be maybe 10 books, or they call them paces or life packs. There would be 10 per subject, perhaps. And they finish one, they go on to the next. With kindergarten, there is teacher instruction. So, and same thing with math. And the math starts out pretty simple. Basically, recognizing what's bigger and what's smaller. Those are math concepts that, you wonder, well, why are they learning that? What's above, what's below, what's to the right, what's to the left. Those positional things are all part of math concepts. And then they, group things together. How many things are in this group? You have pictures of things. And then because kids are still, they're not into the abstract. If you just gave them this page, they may not be able to handle that and understand it. So you would add to that little manipulatives, like little bears, and you'd have 4 bears, and then you'd count them and show them how that relates to the picture, so that they can move from the concrete, which is the bears in their hand, to the abstract, which is the bear or the picture on the page. And then they move into starting on lesson 41, which would be after the first 40 lessons, starting to add by stacking. And they'll put them in, there's one thing in this set, they'll learn these terms, and then we're going to add one more to this set, and we'll have 2 in the set. So we have 1 in the set that we started with, and we're adding 1 more to the set, and now we have 2 in this set. And so it's beginning this way of doing addition. And so, and so that's, your math. So it looks pretty complicated by the time they finish the second book. They will be doing addition and subtraction and counting pennies and things like that. So, but just one thing here, I'll hold that up so you can see that. One thing at a time, one lesson at a time, one concept at a time, and it builds on them. So, in the Alpha and Omega, like I said, in the upper grades, it's great. I use this with my kids, and I started out doing a different, what you'd call life pack type curriculum that was called ACE, which stands for Accelerated Christian Education, but they were too simple. The kids could get by without ever doing the work in some of the subjects, and then just doing multiple choice answers, and they could guess, especially with like the social studies and the science and the history. They didn't have to read it. They could just, skim through or just do the questions. And so it was too simple. So we moved to this program that was a lot easier. And they do have little activities and stuff they suggest as the kids get into older grades, like in the science and stuff. They'll have science activities that they can do. But the awesome part about it is that you don't have to figure out a curriculum. It's all there. So they just like, you do so many pages in math, you do so many pages in history, you do so many pages in language per day, and that's it. And the book itself gives the instruction to the student at his reading level to what to do. Teaches them the concept and then gives them practice in the concept. So you're not having to gather up all these textbooks and read through it and figure out, oh, what am I supposed to teach today? It just makes that really simple for homeschooling. And then they're designed also, as they get into older grades, to self-check. So they have answer keys, and the student would go to the answer key, check his work, and hopefully do not cheat. And then he would go back to his desk, correct those mistakes, go back and make sure that he's corrected them correctly before he can move on to the next PACE or life pack. So you have to finish an entire life pack, and get your grade to a certain percent before moving on to the next one. And if you don't, then you have to go back and review and repeat the part that you didn't understand, wherein the parent might have to help guide them. And there'll be questions. They'll ask you, I don't understand how to do this, and you can help them. But it's not rocket science, which is wonderful. So, so we're hoping, if you want to come here to do kindergarten, we can make that work, but you would have to buy your own set of life packs for kindergarten. Just what I did right here, and it was $98 and 96 cents. And you could do it 3 days a week. I wouldn't suggest any less than that, but you could do it 3 days a week here, 2 days at home, or I don't know if we can get away with 4 days, only 4 days a week, but the children would have to be on time. There would not be this only coming till 9:30. They would have to get here at 8:30, just like a regular school day, and their day would start within 15 minutes. They wouldn't have that half an hour, 45 minutes of playtime. They would have just 15 minutes and then go right into a circle time that would be different than the other kids. So kindergartners would have their own circle time, and then when they're doing their class time, then the younger kids would be doing their circle time. So that morning would be kind of, and then come snack time, they would have the snack time together, and part of the recess together, but the older kids, the kindergartners, would have only a half an hour at recess or that free time, because it's with the preschoolers, the requirement or suggestion is an hour of uninterrupted free time. But kindergartners wouldn't have that. They would have that half hour, and then they would come back and do another, the math, maybe language first and then the math. And with a 30 minutes to 45-minute time. And then after lunch, and they would still have the craft time with the other kids. And then after lunch, they'd have a quiet time of 15 minutes while the other kids are getting settled for their nap. But then they would do, anything that they didn't finish in the morning. So if they didn't finish a paper, they could do it then. And then have free time for Play-Doh and, whatever else, play games or something else that we could add in there. But anyway, so that's kind of my spiel on, and just kind of helping you out with the homeschooling for those that have never done it and are scared out of their minds. And what I found, I want to say this too, what I found is that it took a whole lot less time. My battery's low, it says. Whole lot less time than sitting in the classroom. So the kids usually got done earlier in the day. And even when I skipped days, they still were able to catch up. And so it wasn't, and then when they did enter public school, they were 2 years ahead of everybody else in where they tested. So they didn't put them 2 years ahead. They put them in their, grade where they were, but they tested 2 years ahead. So even if you're, you know, don't really do the greatest job and you think you're a failure, you'll find that you're doing great. So anyway, that's it. Before my battery dies, I better hit the stop button. And yeah, just let me know if you want it to, you know, try this. So, okay, bye. Thanks.